These are the worst gamer deaths ever.
The StarCraft incident. On August 5th, 2005, 28-year-old Lee Sung-seop entered an internet cafe in Daegu, South Korea. He ordered a soda,
Okay,
logged into
normal
StarCraft,
so
and began
far.
playing. Hours turned into days. Witnesses said he rarely moved from his chair, taking only short breaks
Wait,
to the
what?
toilet. By the second night, he had been at the keyboard for nearly 50 hours. His posture
50
sagged,
hours?
his eyes bloodshot, but he kept clicking.
Oh my
The cafe
goodness.
manager urged him to stop, but Lee shook his head and loaded another match. At dawn on the third day, he suddenly collapsed. Paramedics arrived quickly,
No
but he was
way.
unresponsive. At the hospital, doctors confirmed cardiac arrest brought on by exhaustion, dehydration, and blood clotting from immobility.
Oh my
He was
goodness.
pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The Pokemon electrocution. On July 9, 2017, in Iloilo City, Philippines, a 12-year-old boy was playing Pokemon Go with friends. They wandered near a
Okay.
construction site while searching for digital creatures. The boy, holding his phone, climbed onto a metal structure close to overhead power lines. Witnesses
Oh,
said he
this.
lost his balance
Oh
and reached out for
no.
support.
Why did he do
His
that?
hand made contact with a live electrical cable. A loud crack followed, and he collapsed instantly. Friends screamed
Oh
for
my
help, and
gosh.
bystanders rushed over. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but the boy showed no signs of life. He was pronounced dead from electrocution. Authorities confirmed that he had
Oh
been distracted by the
no.
game, which led him into a dangerous area. The accident was covered by local news outlets and cited as part of a series of Pokemon Go-related fatalities worldwide, where players, focused on the screen, entered dangerous environments. The
He should not
Minecraft
have been doing
incident.
that at
On
all.
July 19th, 2015, a 17-year-old boy entered an internet cafe in Pampanga, Philippines. He logged into Minecraft and began what became a marathon session. Witnesses said he played for almost 3 straight days, taking only
3
brief naps at the
days?
desk. Staff grew concerned when they noticed he had not eaten properly and had barely moved from his chair. On the third day, as he leaned forward to type, his body went limp. He collapsed onto the keyboard and did not get up again.
Oh no.
Friends called for help, and staff attempted first aid. Paramedics arrived, but pronounced him dead at the scene. Local doctors later cited cardiac failure linked to severe exhaustion and dehydration after continuous gaming. The Call of Duty SWAT.
Oh my god,
On
he needed to
December 28,
eat. I don't know how he can do that without
2 Call of
eating.
Duty players in the United States got into an online argument over a $1.50 wagered match. One player, Casey Viner, asked another, Tyler Barris, to swat his opponent by calling police to his address. Barris dialed 911 in Los Angeles and reported a fake hostage situation in Wichita,
Oh my
Kansas.
gosh.
The address he gave was not his rival's, but belonged to 28-year-old Andrew Finch, who had no connection to the dispute. Police surrounded Finch's home. When he opened the door, officers ordered him to raise his hands. Confused, he moved slightly, and an officer fired a single shot. Finch was killed instantly in front of his family. The case shocked the
Instantly?
gaming world. Barris was later sentenced to 20 years in prison, while Viner received a shorter sentence. The Wii Fit incident.
Well, at least
On
they're in
December
jail, because
28,
that's. Why would you do that?
25-year-old Tim Eves from Sittingbourne, Kent, received a Nintendo Wii Fit as a Christmas present. Excited to try it, he began using the console's fitness programs on Boxing Day. Family members later reported that he exercised intensely for several hours with the balance board and aerobic mini-games. That evening, after finishing a workout, he complained of chest pains and shortness of breath.
Oh,
His mother
no.
urged him to rest. Minutes later, he
Yeah, he
collapsed in
needed
the
to
morning.
rest.
Paramedics were called immediately. Despite resuscitation attempts, he was declared dead at the scene. An inquest found that Tim had suffered a sudden
no.
cardiac arrhythmia. Though rare, doctors noted that strenuous physical activity can sometimes trigger fatal heart irregularities in young adults. The case was widely reported in the UK as the first known death linked to Wii Fit activity. The Counter-Strike
Oh my
incident.
goodness.
On February 26, 2010, in Chongqing, China, 2 men in their 20s sat in an internet cafe playing Counter-Strike. They began to argue over strategy and insults in the game. Witnesses said the argument grew heated, with both shouting loud enough to attract attention across the room. One man stood up and pushed the other. Staff intervened and briefly separated them, but the fight continued outside the cafe. The aggressor grabbed a knife and
Why were
stabbed
they
his opponent
fighting?
multiple times in the
Oh
chest
my
and abdomen.
gosh.
Bystanders called for help, but the victim collapsed on the pavement before paramedics arrived. He was
He
pronounced
stabbed
dead
him
at
over
the
a
scene.
video
Police
game.
quickly arrested the attacker, who admitted to losing his temper during the argument. The killing was widely reported in Chinese media as another example of internet cafe disputes turning deadly. Local
Oh
authorities
no.
used the case to highlight the growing problem of violence connected to online gaming in public spaces. The GTA incident. On August 3, 2008, in Bangkok, Thailand, 18-year-old high school student Pol Wat Chino hailed a taxi late at night. When they reached his destination, instead of paying, he pulled a knife and attacked the 54-year-old driver.
Oh
He stabbed him
no!
multiple times before dragging the body from the car and attempting to drive away. Witnesses quickly alerted police, who intercepted him only minutes later. He confessed that he had been playing Grand Theft Auto and wanted to know what it felt like to hijack a car in real life. Investigators
What?
said he showed no signs of intoxication or mental illness, only fixation on the game. The teenager was charged with murder and robbery. He was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. Thai authorities responded
Was
by
it worth
temporarily
it?
pulling copies of Grand Theft Auto 4 from store shelves, citing the killing as evidence of dangerous influence. The crime received international coverage and became one of the first game-inspired homicides. The VR incident.
Why would
On
he
December
do that?
21st, 2017,
Now
a
he's in life or
44-year-old
prison
man
for
in
doing
Moscow,
that.
Russia, was at home using a virtual reality headset. He moved through his apartment while immersed in the game, unaware of obstacles around him. Investigators later determined that he stumbled while playing and crashed directly into a glass table. The impact
no.
shattered the surface, slicing deep into his body. Alone in the apartment, he was unable to call for help. Neighbors reported hearing a loud crash, but did not enter. Hours later, family members found him lying in the living room surrounded by broken glass. He
Oh
had
my
bled to death from
goodness.
severe wounds to his head and neck. Moscow authorities confirmed the accident, noting that it was one of the first recorded cases of a fatality linked directly to the use of a VR headset. The unusual circumstances attracted international attention, with headlines highlighting the hidden dangers of playing immersive games in unsafe environments. The World of Warcraft incident. On February 1st, 2007, a 26-year-old man walked into an internet cafe in Guangzhou, China. He sat down, opened World of Warcraft, and began to play. Witnesses later said he barely spoke, only pausing for instant noodles or brief toilet breaks. Day 1 passed, then day 2. He remained in the same seat, eyes fixed on the screen, fingers steady on the mouse. By the
Oh
third
no,
day,
so
his
many of these
movements
are from
slowed.
internet
At 10 a.m.,
cafes.
he suddenly slumped forward onto the desk. Other customers thought he had fallen asleep. After several minutes without motion, staff went to check. They shook his shoulder, but he was limp. An ambulance was called. When paramedics arrived,
no.
he showed no pulse. Doctors at the nearest hospital declared him dead, citing cardiac arrest linked to extreme exhaustion and dehydration after 3 days of continuous gaming. The Halo incident. On October 20th,
Oh my
2007,
goodness,
in
these
Wellington,
are so
Ohio,
bad.
16-year-old Daniel Petrick argued with his parents after they confiscated his copy of Halo 3. They had locked the game in a safe, believing he had become dangerously addicted. While they were out, Daniel discovered where the key was hidden and retrieved both the game and his father's pistol. When his parents
Oh no,
returned,
this isn't
he
gonna be
confronted
good.
them in the living room. He asked them to close their eyes, saying he had a surprise. Instead, he raised the pistol and fired. His mother, Susan, was
Oh
killed
my
instantly.
goodness.
His father, Mark, was shot in the head, but survived. Daniel attempted to frame his father by placing the gun in his hand. Paramedics arrived quickly and saved him. Daniel was arrested and later sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. The case shocked the United
What in
States,
the world?
raising questions about violent video games and teenage obsession. The Pokemon Cliff. On September
Why
7th,
would he do that to his
2016,
parents?
2 men in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, were playing Pokemon Go along a coastal path. The mobile game, which used GPS and augmented reality, had become a global sensation only weeks earlier. Players often followed the app into unfamiliar areas while chasing virtual creatures. That afternoon,
yeah,
the
Pokemon
men,
Go was
aged
crazy.
21 and 22, walked together while staring at their phones. The trail narrowed near a steep drop overlooking the sea.
Oh
Focused on the
no,
screen,
I
they
know
failed
this
to
is gonna
notice
go
the edge.
so bad.
Both fell from a height of more than 65 feet.
Oh,
Emergency
no.
responders were called immediately by nearby witnesses. One of the men was found alive but badly injured. The other was discovered at the base of the cliff, unresponsive. He was declared dead at the hospital a short time later. Japanese
Oh, no.
authorities urged players to pay more attention to their surroundings, and the case received
Yeah,
wide coverage in
please.
national and international media. The League of Legends incident. On November 14, 2012, a 23-year-old man entered an internet cafe in Wuhan, China. He sat
Why
at a
are all
terminal,
these
logged
from
into
internet
League of Legends,
cafes?
and began to play. Staff said he had been a regular customer, sometimes staying for long sessions, but this time he remained in his seat for nearly 23 hours without pause. Other patrons
Oh my
noticed him shifting
goodness.
uncomfortably, rubbing his chest, but he kept on playing. As the morning turned into afternoon, his body weakened. At 3 p.m., he suddenly slumped back in his chair. His arms fell to his side, the mouse slipped from his hand. The attendant rushed over, calling his name, but he was unresponsive. Paramedics were summoned immediately. By the time they arrived, his pulse was faint and irregular. He was transported to a nearby hospital, where doctors attempted to resuscitate him. He was declared dead shortly after.
What's with these internet
Medical staff
cafes?
attributed the death
What's
to cardiac arrest
the kind of people who
brought on
go
by
here are
fatigue,
they're
dehydration,
crazy.
and prolonged immobility. It was one of several such incidents reported in China during that period. The Lineage 2 incident. On March 29, 2005 in Shanghai, two friends, Qiu Chengwei and Zhu Kaoyuan, played the online game Lineage 2. Qiu loaned Zhu a powerful virtual sword, the Dragon Saber. Weeks later, Zhu sold it for 7,200 yuan without permission. Furious, Qiu demanded its return. When Zhu refused, Qiu reported the theft to police. At the time, Chinese law did not recognize virtual property as real, and no charges were filed. On the evening of March 29th, Qiu confronted Zhu in person. The argument escalated into violence. Qiu drew a knife and stabbed Zhu repeatedly.
Oh
Zhu died from his
no!
wounds. Qiu was arrested at the scene. In June 2005, he was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. The killing became one of the first high-profile cases linking disputes over virtual items to real-world homicide, sparking debate in China
Over a
the value
virtual
and legal status
item?
of digital property. The Pokemon Train.
That is
On August
crazy.
23, 2016, in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, a 39-year-old truck driver was driving on a rural road while playing Pokemon Go. Distracted by the game, he failed to see two women crossing at a railway intersection. The truck struck both pedestrians. One woman, aged 72, died instantly. The second,
Oh no!
aged 60, was rushed to hospital with critical injuries and died shortly afterward. Witnesses said the driver never braked before impact. Police arrested the man at the scene. He admitted he had been playing Pokemon Go behind the wheel. Prosecutors charged
Behind
him
the
with dangerous
wheel?
driving resulting in death. The case made national headlines in Japan, where the government had already issued public safety warnings about the game. Following the tragedy, Niantic, the game's developer, added new warnings for players not to use the app while operating vehicles. Despite the changes,
Yeah,
the Tokushima
true.
crash remains one of the
I
deadliest
agree.
incidents linked to mobile gaming distraction. If you enjoyed this video,
Comment
subscribe
down
for
below
similar
which
ones
one
and
was the
feel free to drop
worst.
suggestions
That
for
was
the next video in the
crazy.
comments.